Hello, listeners of the Art Versations podcast.
Hi. My name is. Hi. My name. Hi. My name is Broadway Classic.
Let's hear it.
Thank you, DJ Chris, for that intro theme. Before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that there is a link to an anti-racism resource document in the description of the podcast provided by Chantel Good. Please go and check that out. Hello! We're back for season 3! Back with some new episodes, new creators. It feels like a new life as we navigate the climate of COVID-19 in this fall season. I hope that you are healthy, that you are safe, and that your friends and your loved ones are too. My name is Bri, like the cheese, your host of the Art Versations podcast. Feels good to say that. If this is your first time tuning in, so great to have you. Please stick around. This community is growing every day, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. I've been recording some episodes outside recently, so I will say that there is a bit of distractive noise in the audio of the podcast. But in the time of social distancing, I thought it would be better to be outside with better airflow. My guests and I always made sure to social distance. So we're making it work. My balcony is rinky-dinky, but it's all good. We have a studio. The first episode of this season, I have a double feature for you. I sat down with The Playground Project. Maria and Dom are two emerging choreographers and dancers, and honestly, badass ladies. They just recently put on a works in progress showing called Entwined Together. As I spoke to them, I realized just how dedicated they were to their art and their craft, and I can't wait to see more of them. So please enjoy our conversation.
Like all the tasks that come behind producing your own show.
No idea. We were like, oh,
like all the things that if I had to do all that by myself, show would have been next year, guys. Like, you know,
would have needed a full year. Yeah.
Hello, Maria.
Hello.
Hello, Dom.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me.
Yes.
I wish I could express my gratitude in more than just thank you, but literally thank you so much.
Of course. No, we're so happy to be here. It's so cool.
In my weird ass studio,
I love it.
recording on my
makeshift.
balcony. Yes.
Yeah.
Velour blankets,
We have a bookshelf that might topple over,
Yeah.
but we're making it work.
whole Twilight collection,
Yeah.
whole Hunger Game collection.
That's me. That's honestly me.
Yeah.
I wanted to just do a little check-in. How you're doing? Are you healthy? You feel good? How are you feeling?
I mean, not too bad. I feel like it's definitely been a roller coster.
Yeah.
To say the
These
least. Past what is it? Has it been 7 months? Something crazy?
8 months, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like 7 months. It feels like 4 years.
I was just I was thinking about it. I was like, it's felt so long, but also I'm like, how are we already at September? The year is coming to a close. What?
No. We're closer to Christmas than the beginning of the year.
I'm on TikTok and I'm on Christmas TikTok and I'm like, wait, what?
September 1st, you're it's Christmas season.
Yeah, I'm like, it's spooky time.
Spooky
Halloween is next
season.
month. Can't wait.
I was so excited for it.
That's dope. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a very strange time. I feel like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
what about you?
surreal. Just thinking of where we started and where we are now, and that timeline just seems long but also really short, so it's just very confusing.
Time doesn't have a definition
No.
right now. Yeah.
Even in the middle of COVID, I didn't know it was Monday.
No.
It could
No
have been
idea.
Sunday, and I thought it was Wednesday. Time, 12 o'clock. It was 5 in the morning. I had no,
Just becoming nocturnal.
yeah, literally.
Doesn't mean anything.
Well, I had a friend say it always felt like Sunday at 4 p.m.
Yes.
Every day was Sunday at 4 p.m.
That time.
Just you normally have nothing to do. at that time, it's a Sunday, it's kind of chill, but like it's like, oh no, Monday's coming, so you still have the stress of
That
like
anxiety.
a week. So it was. I was like, yes, that's a perfect way to describe it.
Did you find that like you were more creative, less creative, in between kind of thing?
I feel like in the very beginning, everyone was having classes and workshops and online stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sign up for it all. I want to do everything. Like, I want to stay busy, and then lost the motivation pretty quickly. And then that's when I don't know when it was, July. You were like, Dom, like, how's it going? Like, what's going on with life? Like, can we do something? Like, just so it was very the same thing, up and downs, like going through inspiration and then having none of it at all.
Yeah, it kind of goes and comes and goes. Yeah.
I think at the beginning of COVID, I was trying to just not dancing, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna explore like other mixed mediums. Like I'm gonna do like I'm gonna draw more. I'm gonna start sketching.
Cool.
So I was like more in tune with that aspect of it because I was like kind of mourning that I couldn't be in the space dancing.
Yeah.
And then when was it? When I did Kenny's intensive with Hannah Keel, having to like do that process like in my living room and like be so creative.
Yeah.
Was like, okay, this is the new normal. How can I make the best out of it? And like it was such a great experience because I feel like I was mourning that I couldn't do it before, and then after that I was like, okay, it's gonna be okay.
Felt good. Okay,
I felt good. You know, we could do this.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, with Dom, like, and just like playground projects, like at the beginning of COVID, I feel like we were very like, it was very separated. Like we just it was, there's a disconnect, and I was like, okay, wait, let me check in on her. Like, are we okay? Like, what's happening? And I was like, okay, no, we need to do something. Like,
cool.
Something's missing. Like, we just need to do something. Like
Something small, something big. We had no idea, but like, or at least like go to the park. Because by that time, like, people were going out more. So we were like, let's just go to a park and do something. Like, just dance. Like, just see. Like, who knows what's going to happen from that, but...
That's really good. Like, I'm glad to hear that you found it again and, like, came together.
Me too.
You need it.
100%.
To survive and to, like... to be an artist, still be an artist, even though we have so much adversity against us. Of being like, you can't do this, you can't be around each other. You know?
So many limitations. It was, it was very discouraging at first. Because, like, how much can you do in your little space at home, right? So...
It's tough. It's tough to find that connection over Zoom. Or over, 6 feet apart. I found, like, teaching, because I've been doing, like, summer camp this summer with, like, 5 to 6 year olds, like, very young kids, but, like, not being able to, even just hold their hand or, like, have that little connection. It was sad. It was hard for me to be like, dance, go have fun, but, like, I'm going to be over here.
I know.
There's that breakage of it.
And such a disconnect, like having to teach with masks on too, and then everything else has to be so exaggerated because like they can't even tell I'm like smiling. So I try to like really like accentuate. So just for a little bit, like not too much, because my studio is still a little bit more on like the recreational side. Like we technically had our first year of comp. It would have been this year for the kids, like dipping their toes in the water, like seeing what it would be like. But so we had like just 1 week of an intensive, and it was very strange, like having them in the boxes, like just being so distanced. I was like, oh, I just want to touch you, but I can't. It's so like hard.
That connection. It's broken. Oh wow. So you get it. You get the idea of like, I have to teach, but I can't actually like emote with you. It's weird.
It's so weird. Trying to like teach them like some kind of like lyrical combo, and I was like, we have to feel the emotion, like listen to the song, and they're like, what's going on? I don't know what's happening.
Like, I don't feel anything right now.
Like literally. Okay.
So they were a little bit older for that class you taught?
Those guys are around like the 9 to 11 mark.
Okay, so like preteens. Because like at the beginning of August, I did a summer camp for like 4-year-olds.
Young.
And like what you were saying there, like it's so weird because they get confused. You're like, I can't hug you. I know you're crying right now, wipe the tears away. You're gonna be okay. But it's like, I want to hug you. I want to embrace you. That you're just accepted. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna have fun. But you can't. And they're like, they just kind of like wait and like process it in their heads, and then they just go back to their square. Like, no, you can't actually. I can't be beside you. Like, you have to go back to your square. Like, you have to stay in your square. And they're like,
but I don't want to.
But I don't want to.
I want to
like,
just run
you know what I
around.
mean?
Yeah.
And especially in that age, like that's when they're learning these social things, like of, you know, like integrating with their friends and just like sharing, and it's like they can't do that. So
it's almost like prison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a
Stay in this box.
Yeah.
For this whole
Really
hour.
sad way.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be here, and somehow you, in this little box that you're in, have to find creativity and find, you know, connection. Good luck, you know?
Yeah.
Because I don't feel it in some ways.
I know.
There's some days where I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. How am I going to get my, like, optimism up and, like, actually give, like, a class that feels positive, encouraging when I feel down and a little bit pessimistic about the state of our world. You know?
Yeah, 100%. It's like putting a mask on and just having to be like, gotta get through the day.
It's hard.
Yeah.
At least we were able to have some kind of performance.
I know.
Entwined Together.
Yeah.
I'm really like glad that we like pushed through and actually figured this out. You guys got a permit. Yeah.
It was like
we're like, now we're doing the hand gestures, guys.
Okay. It was a little bit of like a maybe air quotes permit. Is that what it was?
Air quotes that one.
air quotes permit. I mean, yeah. I think it's crazy. It was such a. We were doing like the casual park get-togethers, and then I think Maria was the one who was like, let's just do something. Let's
do a show.
I think we could do it. And I was like, okay, yeah. Like let's make it work.
It was on July 28th. We went to Trinity. I remember the date because I was like, okay, we technically have like a month and something. Because Dom, you were like, oh, let's do it at the end of August. I was like, no, we're not even gonna get to finish anything by the end of August. September. I was like, and like it was just like, okay, like let's go for it. Let's start organizing everything. Yeah. Because after that like park meetup, we met up with one of our cast members, Bella, and I was like, we're gonna do it. We're gonna put on a show, and it's gonna happen because one way or another, it's gonna happen, and it happened. And
yeah, just for some context for people, it was called Entwined Together.
Yes, Entwined Together. It was a series of like emerging like artists, choreographers, and then our piece was called Habitual. And yeah, we just wanted to like give the space to like emerging artists, choreographers, dancers, just to have the space to showcase their work, because in a lot of ways I feel like in Toronto, like in our community, there's not a lot of opportunities to really like showcase your work. Like the only things I can think about maybe like Night Shift or like New Blue, but even then like they still require some sort of like more experience. Like you need to just like fill in these applications, a lot of paperwork. It seems very like distanced, whereas like here it's like we just wanted to give people the opportunity, like, you know.
It's wonderful.
So
I think like in past, like we've applied to different things and it's been like, here, list all the works that you've done, list like 5 different, and we're like, we haven't even done that many. So
it's kind of like when you apply to your first job and you give them your resume and they're like, oh, you need at least this much of experience in this field, and you're like, yeah, but I need to get a job first
so that I have the experience.
Can you hire me first so I can have the experience? And they're like, no. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Where do you start? Where do you get your emergence?
So
launching off. Yeah.
I mean, one of the companies, Half Light Dance Project, which is Lily and Emily, that was their first show ever. I mean, technically, like our first like full
production,
show. We'd done like little things, but yeah, that was like their first thing as a company. So I'm like, that's so cool. Like I didn't realize that until like they had posted afterwards. We were like, oh, that's cool that we got to give them that opportunity, and like the other choreographers, because I mean, how much did you really get to do through these past months? So it's like, here, we were just hoping, like, messaging the choreographers being like, hey, want to do something? And it was like, yes, of course, I want to do something. Like, it's been so long.
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
Give me the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of like what you were saying, just like that people were free. So we were like, oh, let's just jump on it. Like, try to get the people. I think we ended up asking like 8 different choreographers, but then we only ended up with the 4. So, I mean, things happen. But like, yeah, I was really happy with like who we ended up getting.
Yeah, Zest Creative, Half Light, Barbara Sims did a piece, and then as well Caitlin Seibold, which I was in.
Yeah.
And then you guys did your piece together. Yeah, I think it was like a group of really interesting, very different pieces. But when I got there, I immediately felt that sense of like, oh, I'm so glad we're doing this. I'm so glad we can be back. I'm so glad I get to learn and watch the other people, right? And what they've been going through and different branches of thought. So yeah, I was really impressed with it. I think it was a well executed, you know, like in this beautiful, gorgeous, I wish I could show people a picture of it, gorgeous little gazebo, not little, big gazebo.
It was big. It was a big one,
Huge. It was like, I've never even danced in a stage that big, I feel like.
I know, like crazy. I think Maria underestimated it as well, and I was like, let me tell you, first rehearsal we had there, she was like,
respacing everybody.
Yeah.
we're like, like just spread out, just come a little closer, like, geez, you have all this space. So yeah, I mean, it would be epic, like to have like a huge group of people there. Like it would be so cool. But like obviously during this time, but maybe in the future, who knows?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a great spot. I saw like when I was researching Woodbine Park, like they do like a busking festival there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
They raise funds for what's it called? Okay, I can't think of it right now. But they raise funds for.
I mean,
some
even
kind of
something.
collective.
I'm really gonna search it up right now.
It's gonna bother you.
Yeah, it is.
It's gonna be right here the whole
But
time.
yeah, I think like just the idea of like even before COVID, it's like when we first started like last year in the summer, it was like, okay, if we're not getting the opportunities that we need to really like make our presence here, then we need to create them for ourselves.
Yeah.
Like if the work is not there for us, and it's like the big fish idea, like all the big fish are getting everything, we're just then why don't we start creating, why don't we become our own bosses, you know? Like that's like the boss idea, like okay, well then we're just gonna create our own work, we're gonna create these spaces for people to like be a part of them, because like that builds community, and that just like, you know.
Yes,
You know?
I think you're so right. I agree with it completely, that you have to make your own path almost.
Yeah.
Because there's such a limitation right now, especially, but also like in general. In Toronto, I find that there's such a limitation for opportunities.
Yeah.
And it's only the people who have had sort of the history to be able to perform still get those opportunities.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
I know. I mean, I think ever like, because I went straight into freelancing right out of high school.
Okay.
And so I was just like trying to network, do my best at like meeting as many people as I could. But even still, like I just was like, I'm not getting the jobs that I really want to get, or I'm going to all these auditions and maybe I really wanted that, but then somebody else got it. So it's discouraging. And now it's been 5 years since I graduated, and I've done some projects that I've been really proud of, but I think there was still like a part of me that was like, but I really want this. And I think after I met Maria, like we clicked with that idea, and she was like, I know I'm still in school, but like why not just get the jump on it? And so I was like, yes, I'm glad I have someone else, because it's so scary to do stuff by yourself too. Like, sure, like starting a company all by yourself, I was like, no, I don't know if I could do it. But having that support system is so important.
The accountability of the two of you.
Yeah.
You guys are so similar, just so you're aware.
And are all Adidas, just so you guys know.
But it's just like, like I'm so happy like we cross paths. Like we met at a Pro Arte in, what was it, 2017? 2018. 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we just like clicked. Like we were like, whoa, this is so crazy. Like it's like my other person, and like and then with creating work, it's like because we are so similar, and like it's comforting to know that there's a person there for you, and like they'll have your back, and they'll also like give you a different perspective. But just how similar we are, and like how strong our relationship is with each other is like, it's just comforting, especially like putting work out in, you know?
Does it give you a bit more confidence to sort of take risks in some ways?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, how so?
It's kind of just like knowing that somebody else is supporting that idea. You at least know there's one other person.
Yes.
I want to take that risk. Who knows if other people will like it, the dancers will like it, whatever, but at least there's somebody else who's like on the same wavelength as you.
Same team.
Yeah, they're like rooting you on, because like we do, like we'll split up and be like, you get that and I'll do this, like, so there's a nice balance, both in the studio and then outside of the studio too.
Yeah, you feel like you don't have to hold on everything on your own shoulders.
Yeah.
And give some load to other people.
Yeah, 100%. Like this was a collective idea,
totally.
and whatever.
Especially if I had to put on a whole show during quarantine by myself. Like all the tasks that come behind producing
We
your
had
own show.
no idea. We were like, oh.
Like all the things that if I had to do all that by myself, show would have been next year, guys. Like, you know,
would have needed a full year. Yeah. No, I know. Like there was so much that we just hadn't thought about, and then when we were chatting with people, they were like, "Oh, but did you do this?" And we were like, "No, but we'll get on that.
Put that on the
Okay,
list."
that's going on the list.
Yeah. Like, our checklist was like,
a page
so long, and it was just like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, so many things to do.
Yeah.
Like, and creating a piece of our own. Like, it would have been one thing just like putting on a show and been like, here are the 8 choreographers, but it's like, oh, and we're making something in it too. So it was like,
you had rehearsals for Habitual, your piece.
Yeah.
On top of producing a show.
yeah.
Like, ugh, you guys are so busy.
Yeah, it was a lot, and now I kind of feel like I'm back into work and teaching, but I mean, so the timing worked out perfectly.
Great.
But I feel a little empty now. I'm like, I want something else. Like the second the show ended, we were like,
It went by
it's
so
over.
fast.
How did a month and a bit of just working on this, and then it's like the day goes by so quick.
Yeah, it's like you do all this prep, and you're going through all these checklists that you have. Everything has to be perfect for like 4:30 p.m. on that Saturday.
Yep.
And you do it, and then it's gone. It's just like that.
Just I know, and I had said to some people who had came, I was like, it just like I feel like I didn't take it all in on that day. Like I'm glad we had that little like tech dress the day before so that I could like watch the pieces, because I know like in my head I was just thinking of all the other things. Like I was like, what's going on with the live stream, what's going on with the music, and making sure that everything was going, that it was hard to like enjoy the piece.
Right.
So I'm glad we had the day before so that I could really watch all the other pieces.
Give yourself some time to actually know what you want to do, or what you want to bring, what you guys want to say at the beginning of it, right? Like, I find it really hard to like start a show.
Yeah.
What do you say, right? You're like, here it is. You know, like
I wish we could do that.
You know?
That is more like
That's
feel like
us,
very us.
letting it speak
but we
for
were like,
itself, you know,
okay, we're gonna be professional. We're gonna go out there, our little pantsuits on.
No, you guys looked fine. You had both of you were in pastel colors. These like bomb ass blazers, killing it. Both you both had like sunglasses on or glasses on.
Yep. I know, it's crazy. Like I feel even when it was like our piece to announce, we were like, this one's ours. Enjoy.
We did that.
Like this is it.
Yeah, literally.
Enjoy it.
Yeah. There you go.
Like, I mean, in some ways you want the art to speak for itself, I guess. You know, like especially with dance, it's kind of hard to like give people a concrete explanation of what you're about to do.
Yeah.
You could be like, oh, here's the title of it, or here's a little synopsis, but people are going to interpret it in so many different ways. Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Did you have like a set like concept for this piece? Habitual?
Yeah, it was all her idea.
Cool.
Okay, let's go back to the
Oh, we got the notes
books.
right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful.
Okay, let's see where we started. Here. Okay, well, what was the initial idea? The initial idea was like habitual is the name of the piece, but it was like those habitual responses, like when you're like, how are you? And you're like, good. but in your head you're like, actually, my day's fucking going like really crazy, and I want to cry. I actually cried 20 minutes ago in the shower, but you don't say that. And it's like, why don't you say that? Or saying like, I love you. And in some contexts you mean it, but in others you say it because
It's like, bye, I love you.
bye, I love you. But it's like, wait, actually, no, I don't love that person. You know, like just so it's like, I love you. How are you? What were the other ones?
Where are you?
Where are you?
I'm good.
Don't go. What? I'm sorry. Like apologizing. I feel like that's a big one in especially like I find it in Canada, like in Colombia, like because I was born there and I moved here when I was 10, so I spent like most of my childhood there. And like people, if they're not sorry, they don't apologize. And when I came here, it's such a huge culture shock because, for example, like you're in a grocery store with a cart and you bump into someone. Oh no, you don't bump into someone. Someone bumps into you. And you're like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like, are you okay? I'm so sorry. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry too. I'm so sorry. And then you're like, wait, that wasn't my fault. Why am I saying sorry? And in other things too. It's like we're so polite and we're so nice, and I think that also translates to like dancers. Like here we're so polite and we're so nice and we're like, here, take the space. And in a lot of things, like I know it's a generalization, but I just wanted to like explore that idea of like those things that we say that maybe
absolutely.
we don't mean, or there's context behind that.
I know exactly what you mean.
It started with that idea.
Cool.
And then in the creative process, we gave our dancers these words and gestures that they could, do with those words. And then what else did we ask them to do?
Because they generated most of the work themselves. I feel like that was we've done a couple of things where it was very rushed, so we came up with all the material and then we just there it is. But in the past 2 projects we've done, which was this last one and then the one from last summer called Ampose, and that was all like, we want you guys to have a lot of say in what we're doing, so it was very collaborative. And so we would give them all this and then we would just like kind of tweak it to the way we wanted it, and we had like these scenes set up in the piece, like just different locations that would work for those conversations that you would have. Like, so in an elevator when you're just beside a neighbor and you feel awkward, but you're like, hey, how's your day? Like, and it's very casual, but you just feel like you have to, or like you're on the TTC and the same thing might happen. So we had like these like different scenes and locations just so that the dancers could wrap their heads around like what exactly was happening in this moment.
And you did that with music, if I'm not mistaken. I want to speak for you, but there were different, like, all of a sudden we're in a new kind of song or a new genre of music. I felt that as well as an audience member. I sort of went on the journey with you.
100%.
Okay, great.
I'm glad you got that. Because, we wanted just different little soundtracks, just to be like, here's a little snippet, here's a little snippet.
Very broken up.
That was one of the harder parts, just to find like exactly what would work, because we had some of the material, but we were like, but now we have to find like the right soundtrack to go with it. So that was tricky,
it was like
but also fun.
It was like different kinds of jammy music.
Like, I mean, I literally typed in elevator music. And it was like like little jazz music too. And so I was like, oh, this is fun. Like something we've never worked with before.
We've never done that.
And you had a really interesting cast of creators themselves. Or it seems like the dancers were able to bring something. I'm glad that you gave them the chance to do that. You were like, okay, give us some kind of inspiration, and we'll put it together.
I think if I can speak for both of us, like I think we like working that way better, like collaboratively, because I mean, last year, like it was our first year, and we were just like, let's try to do everything. We did choreo ball, we did young creators, we did What was
We worked with a company called the And Stage Project.
Oh, yes.
Art company. Yeah.
I saw that. Was it also in a park outside?
No, that one was at
the Factory Theater.
Yeah, Factory.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They contacted us because they knew someone who went to Ryerson,
Who graduated from the actors program.
And then they were like, oh yeah, I know someone, Maria, like she just started a company, and we were like, okay, this is our first, like, they were like, you can have a piece like anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes. We were like, oh, we've never done a piece that long.
Because before that, it was Choreo Ball, which is like
2 minutes.
It's 2 minutes commercial, different scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we were just trying to say yes to everything we could that summer. Like, it was overwhelming, but it was like, we were like, yes to everything. We need to do like as much as we can.
Yeah.
And because of that, we had to like just meet us two and like come up with the choreo, like, because we didn't have the time to like play. And that, like, a big thing about us is like we love playing, just like
It's in the name.
It's in the name, Playground Project.
yeah.
But like, we just love like playing and like being silly and just like open to like new things and different like possibilities. So I mean, we learned a lot from it because this summer like we were able to put on a show that like was in the true form like Playground Project. Like, it was very true to us, and we just learned a lot about scheduling, time management, reaching out to dancers. How do you do that?
Half the battle
just
right there.
artistic statements. Just so it taught us a lot last summer, and we're just excited because we keep growing from these experiences. So it's very nice.
Yeah, like you say, you're trying new things. You're building your path because it's the only way to do it. It's that's lovely.
Yeah.
I admire it, and I also hope, and this is why I wanted to have you on. Like, I hope that I can help you through that and let people know who you are. Right? Like, I mean, so it's in the name, the Playground Project. I love that name because I am also like a fan of just play. Just trying new things. Do you guys, when you come into like a space for rehearsal, do you start with some kind of improv, or do you let the dancers go?
I mean, in this past work, we said before the rehearsal, like, can you guys send us in like 10 words, random words, and then Maria would put them down like all on
like these ones, like squish, cold, season, sour, cross-legged, nuggets.
just
random words.
And then from that, they developed little sentences. So when they came to rehearsal, we said, here's the 40 words. Can you write a sentence? It doesn't have to make any sense at all. And then we had a bunch of sentences from each dancer, and then we said, pick your own, pick somebody else's, and then everybody had like 2 to 3 sentences, and they developed little solos just from those sentences.
Nice.
And then that's how like just we had all these solos, and then we picked them apart and said, we want these 2 to come together, we want this one to be a duet, like just as much as we could play with what we had there. And so that part was really fun. I think you get to know the dancers' personalities, like with the sentences that they come up with the words that they generate, like whatever it is. It's just like, oh, okay, I'm starting to understand like who you are. I mean, most of the people we've worked with, we know personally, but like I think as we start to like want to work with other people, like it's like a nice little
get to know you package.
But I think also with like our choreography, like what I've noticed is in the past 2 works, so Habitual and Pose, there's like a lot of motifs that are repeated throughout the piece. So for Habitual, it was this one.
It's like little airplane arms.
That one. And then in Pose, we did a lot of like pony springs.
Nice.
Like pony walks. So I don't know, I find that as an audience, like I find it so satisfying when I see like repetition, like a little thread throughout it. So I don't know, I think that's maybe our thing. Like we like doing like little repetition in there.
Motifs have always been fun to play with.
It kind of helps you understand like what the little themes, and then you make an overall arching theme. I see that. Cool. Yeah, I love that you guys use words. I think text is important. The way the piece started, if I can reveal it to other people, but it starts with Courtney, one of the dancers, sort of walking in and being like, what are you doing? Like, very abruptly, just sort of starting that engagement, that conversation with another dancer on stage. And it was immediately I was like, oh, what's going on? What? Like, you know, like she comes to the audience, and it was like, immediately I was engaged. I was ready right there.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was all Maria's idea. She was like, I think if our whole piece is based around like these little tiny phrases and gestures, like, let's have them speak. And so that's where like Amelia is like half speaking, half doing these gestures, because the gestures mean something. We created like these sentences that was like, where are you? No, stop. I love you.
Dialogue,
so she would like say some of it and do some of the things. So we were like, great, the audience is going to be confused right off the top, and that's why Courtney is too. She's like, I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, what do you mean no? Like, stop what? I don't know what you want from me. Like, things like that. Just so, like you said, the audience is just like, okay, wait, what? Am I supposed to be understanding? What's going on?
Did I miss something? Did they have a conversation off stage?
Right, yeah.
It's almost like in the middle of the piece.
Yeah.
It's cool.
But I think it also, in a way, speaks to that initial idea of these habitual responses.
Yeah.
Because they happen, but you're like, why did that just happen? Why did I respond this way? Like, what's happening? Did I mean that? So it's like, I think the beginning, like with her being like, what are you saying? It's like kind of like what I think in my head some of the times when I respond. I'm like, why am I saying that?
What do you actually
What do you mean?
say? Yeah.
What do you mean no? So yeah, it's just like
The miscommunication.
the miscommunication. Yeah.
Cool.
And at the end, she's like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
She's
So
over
bye.
it.
I know. I laughed at that part. I thought that was
Oh, good. I'm fine.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm done.
Yeah, no. She just
Peace
went out of there.
Just-
Yeah. It's cool.
I think I'd like to develop that even further and like take that.
Yeah, would you
wherever.
ever remount this piece at all?
I mean, I'd like to. I'd like to do this one and the one from last summer.
end.
I mean, I'd love to see this one on stage too, like in a regular like theater setting too, because I mean, we just worked with natural lighting and hoped for the best, but I think like with some stage lighting and like just like trying to, I don't know, figure that out and
Some reds, maybe.
yeah, we love our red.
love the red.
The red and the black.
Yes.
Oh, I have to give a shout out to her. Did you design the program, right?
Yeah.
Gorgeous program.
Thank you.
I still have it because I was like, I'm keeping this. I want,
Good.
I want the ideas. It's beautiful, and like, Maxon took the photos.
Yeah,
The photos
yeah.
for it, and it was beautifully designed. And then on the back of it, the glossy paper.
The glossy paper.
Glossy paper.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes you just have to put that extra little coin in, get the glossy paper. Yeah.
It's worth it. It is worth it.
I mean, it's fun. Like, maybe I'll put on my resume graphic designer. Like,
Yes,
who knows?
honestly, do it.
I mean, you did it.
It was
A jack
it
of
was
all
really
trades.
easy too. It wasn't too hard. Like
Yeah.
I used this program Canva, and it was so easy to use. Like I've seen people use it for like social media posts and like different stuff like that.
Nice.
And then I was like, programs, they've got to have a thing for programs. And then it was just step by step, like just plugging our
clicks,
information and our photos in, and so it was quite nice. Yeah. Fun to do.
Yeah. You have to do it if you're gonna be,
I
producing
know.
a show.
It was like, do we hire someone
Yeah.
or do I figure it out?
Because then you have to pay them like a rate. And
Yeah.
I know.
That one's on you.
Yeah. So that was like other things that were on the list. Like, oh, okay, so we have to figure out how to make programs. Cool. Gonna do that.
to wear many hats, right? Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
And getting like a speaker too. I remember that was a little bit of a stressful situation.
Yeah, that was like one of my responsibilities. Like
Hey, you pulled through.
technical wise, yeah.
It sounded great.
Yeah, I was, and I called them a week before, and they were like, "Yeah, they're all out." And I was like, I took this phone call during work, so I was like, okay, that's okay. But then I got home and I called them again, and I was like, no, actually, it's not okay. I really need this speaker. Like, I don't know if we can put a hold on it or what we can do, but I need it. Like, I literally need it. And they're like, okay, well, can you call us back in like a week? And I'm like, no, the show is next week, so should I be calling you every day to see when you come back? And initially they were like, yeah, call us back during the weekend and we'll see if something comes in. And I was like, oh my god.
Please.
Called them 4 hours later, talked to somebody else. I'm like, okay, listen.
Listen here.
Listen,
Yeah.
You were gonna get me a speaker.
I'm
whether you like
I'm
it or
gonna be
not.
put on the waiting list if there's one. If there isn't one, we're gonna make one.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, so there's a $10 charge with that. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Just put me on, please.
I need the speaker.
I need the speaker.
Pull through.
But yeah, pull through.
Yeah,
Pretty proud.
it sounded
Yeah.
pretty good. Like
Yeah.
I was really happy with that. So thank goodness.
No,
Long and McQuaid, like they have really good like rentals. Like it was really affordable.
Shout out to Robin.
Yeah, shout out.
Yeah.
If you're listening, I don't know.
Yeah. If you need a
I should
speaker.
take a couple notes from them about audio and figuring out how to actually record a nice little sound.
This would have been us too. Like we would 100% figured it out.
I don't know. Yeah, I was like trying to figure this out this morning, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll just put up some blankets. I feel like that might like block the wind a bit. Literally, like pins from like high school that I've collected.
Means No.
Yeah, actually, that's from Ryerson. Yeah,
Ryerson?
that no means no pin. But yeah,
I like it. Yeah.
we're making it work. I usually record at Ryerson's like. Their study spaces,
Yeah.
which is a lot better, but I don't know. I wanted to also like have something a little bit outdoorsy for airflow and making sure that
It's kind of nice outside. Like the sun's been peeking out, and I've been getting some sun. It's been great.
yeah, it's actually a beautiful
too
day
shabby.
today. It's nice,
Yeah.
and it was a beautiful day at the showing too. Like
We really lucked out. I wasn't sure. I was like,
Yeah.
I think that was like the biggest thing for me. It was like, if it rains.
Did you have a rain date in mind?
Yeah, so we were thinking just doing the next day, the Sunday, but it turns out Sunday thunderstormed. So we were like, thank God we didn't do the Sunday, like, woo. And then the other thing was just like, with like COVID and safety precautions, like we were just nervous about like being over the limit, and like, so we were like, what if cops come by? We were just like, my brain was everywhere where like, and then day came, I was like, thank God. Yeah.
Everything worked out.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, and you had it. I felt very safe. Like just as a person who attended, you had like a little check-in desk with wipes and hand sanitizer. Everyone was wearing masks mostly.
Yeah.
I think that was really great.
Mm-hmm.
You spread people out. That was perfect.
Yeah.
They were able to sit on the lawn, and it was really like. It worked out that it was kind of almost like a raised audience.
Yeah.
Like you could go to like the balcony of the hill.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, literally. It's like, this works. And if there were people who just were walking by and decided to just
stay. Plop down.
Look at that.
They didn't get like our 6 feet social distancing seats, but they got their hill seats.
And they didn't leave a donation either, but.
But actually,
What are you gonna do?
on that, like with people just like coming, like regular like average people, not like dancers or in the dance community, it was really nice because at the end of the show, like I got feedback from my boyfriend. And he was like, honestly, it's really nice because when I think of dance, I think of ballet and like the National Ballet, like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's actually true. Like, I feel like people are not as exposed to like contemporary dance, like in that way. Like, and there's like, Fall for Dance that does really like good like price tickets that like affordable for everybody, $15 or I think $10 for students. I'm not sure, but just like affordable tickets,
Oh yeah.
And anybody or any demographic they can go. It's like very accessible. But I just feel like like we need to put more work out so it's accessible to everybody. And people are more open about what the idea of what dance is.
Contemporary dance.
Contemporary dance.
Not just ballet.
Not just ballet.
I was in my Uber ride here, and the guy was kind of just asking me. This is the first time I've actually had like a full-on conversation with an Uber driver.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I think we got on to like what I do, and I said I produced a dance show with my business partner last weekend. He was like, oh, cool. What kind of dance? I was like, contemporary dance. He was like, oh,
what is
cool,
that?
Yeah. What's that all about? I'm like, most
temporary. What?
yeah, it's like
How do you spell
what is
that?
Yeah, like people just don't really know, and and contemporary is also very hard to like explain. I'm like,
How do you?
it's like a little bit of everything, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, not quite advertising this as well as I should. But you should check it out. You check it out.
Yeah, I was actually having a conversation with Michael Romera. I think that's his last name. I could be butchering it. He's at Ryerson in acting, and he was telling me like it does feel like its own style of dance. Like contemporary is it's in its own realm, and I was like, well, it's so broad that it's almost like anything can be contemporary.
Anything,
It's got a big umbrella for us. We're like, that's contemporary. Like, just whatever it is, and make it work.
It's not even in like what kind of moves you're doing or like what music you use, because like you guys are using like elevator music for your pieces. Like, okay, so is that contemporary music, or are we just
right? Exactly. Like it's got a jazz influence, but we're not doing jazz.
There you go.
So it's like, it's interesting.
I love the little moments in the piece where like Courtney was like in a back bend, full on back bend, and then they're just like like jiggling and bouncing.
I was like, Courtney, can you get lower? She's like, yes.
Good. She's like, I could.
She also has to do like a full like Russian split jump, and Moira's doing like an elbow stand in that moment. Yeah.
So is that contemporary? Like, are we, Yes, it is in some ways. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. We were like, it's contemporary now.
Yeah. We made it. So.
Yeah, we made it contemporary.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, everything worked out so well. So so you'd think you'd want to remount it maybe in a different space. But I mean, like, also, what's next for you guys? Like, what, if I can ask, and please no pressure if you're like, we're not doing anything. But I'm curious to know what else is going on.
Well, I'll let you take the stage on this one.
The stage. My God. Okay. Well, for one of my classes at Ryerson, it's called Independent Studies.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
This year we have a new prof, Cole Lewis.
Okay, yeah.
So she's new in the program.
Okay.
Basically, she's assigned us to like come up with like a project and like all the production things that go behind it.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking, okay, well, I could come up with a random project and that whole semester just kind of, in a sense, go to like waste, or I can be productive during this time and like start producing something for our next show or our next idea, and like really like just get all the like nitty-gritty details out of the way, just because it's for school, so like why not start working on that right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So like, what was it? I believe it was Monday. I had a class with Kate Hilliard, and we were talking about how COVID and just the time we're living in right now, like, it's gonna become part of our history textbooks.
Yeah,
like that's 2020.
True.
For whoever is learning history in like 2035, looking back at 2020, like a lot of things are going to be covered in that year, and like we're literally like living through history right now.
Like, whoa, it's weird, eh?
Like,
this is now, but it's also going to be a really big part of our past,
So in that conversation, I basically said like, like we're living through history right now, but what I'm more like kind of like not concerned with, but just like I wonder what it will pan out to be is like the generation of kids who are right now, they're 4 or 5, and by the time the pandemic there's a cure, there's a vaccine for it, let's say they're 10, 11, how are they gonna be? Because right now 4 or 5-year-olds, you can't touch them. And with their immediate circle, you can hug each other, you can kiss, but that's like your immediate family. But how are they going to be socially when they're 11, preteens,
Yeah, because you're teaching them right now. Right? Like
and then in a way, how are they going to be as functioning adults when they're going to be, in my head, hypotheses, like they're going to be socially, physically deprived and confused. They're going to be confused, I think, is what's going to happen. And then in terms, how are they going to be functioning adults in society if when they were younger, all they were told is, no, you can't touch. No, you have to stay this much, like this far apart. Like, it's just like the idea of that.
Continue.
No, totally. But the idea of that is like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And in a way, like, what does touch mean to the kids now? And what will that be like in the future? What will touch mean to them then?
Yeah.
And so with that, it's just like the conversation opened up about touch and like how like different cultures view touch in a different way. Like I come from a Spanish background. We're very like physical. We're very like touchy.
Yeah.
But I know I have friends that are from like Eastern Europe that are very like, no, we don't hug. They don't need that.
They don't need the touch. Yeah.
And then just the idea of like one of our most basic human instincts is touch.
Yeah.
When we're born, like our moms like literally like nurse us. Like touch is so important
So
for our
important.
physical and mental like development.
Absolutely.
And so yeah, just like I want to explore that this semester with Dom.
Okay, cool.
And what that will turn into. So yeah, we're just exploring that idea right now.
Yeah, it's like right in its like beginning.
It's
works.
right in the beginning,
Just
yeah.
the talking part.
Yeah. That's what this
But
podcast is for.
Definitely.
Yes.
The beginning of process.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely very excited to see
Okay.
how it will grow and how it will expand.
What kind of research are you guys going to be doing? Do you know?
So we want to kind of like maybe do like a little in the process, a little documentary like process.
Ooh.
In where
Love.
Dom has family in San Francisco.
Yeah, like London. I know people in like Australia.
Cool.
Obviously, a couple places throughout Canada. So, and
Yeah.
same with you, like knowing people.
I have people in Germany, Colombia, Miami.
Yeah.
And so like interviewing different demographics, different ages, and with a series of questions, what does touch mean to you? Or just like more questions about what we're like concerned with.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then using like verbatim theater.
Okay.
Which will like, because like I think verbatim theater has really, it's in the theater aspect, like the
Yes.
drama.
Yeah.
But how do you bring that into a dance context? Because I don't think I've ever seen that done.
So many different ways that it could
How-
go about.
how it could-
Yeah.
How we could explore that.
That sounds
But
really
yeah.
cool.
Yes,
I
very
like the
excited.
idea of a documentary. That's nice. You get to capture what actually goes on
Yeah.
before it's yeah.
I think
Cool.
I think we're ready to try different things
Yeah.
too, and that's something like we've never done. So it's like
Multimedia.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're working with like Elisa Pyers contacted us like the day after our show and was just like,
Lisa, friend of the show.
We were like, oh my god! She texted me.
yeah, I was like,
She's great.
did you see? Because she messaged us on Facebook, and I don't have her as a Facebook friend, and so I was like, oh, I have a request, and I was like, okay, let me check that out, and then I was like, oh, Lisa, what?
It's weird.
yeah, and she's like, we love
Messaging
you.
me? We love Elisa.
Yeah, that's and I immediately I was like, Maria,
Check your Facebook. I was like, I was taking a shower. So I was out of the shower and I was like, oh my god. She like basically messaged us like
Yeah, what did she
reaching out
say?
to us.
Yeah, it was. Hey, I know a guy who does videography, and like he's been doing some like film projects, and he wanted her to do something, but just she has so much going on that she reached out to us and said, hey, I know you guys just produced a show. I'm sorry we missed it, but like I think your work would be great with what he's doing. And we were like, okay.
That's amazing
So,
to have that. Yeah.
like we've never done any kind of like filming like that in a more like professional setting. So
Yeah.
we're doing that next week. So that's
what a great
exciting.
human she
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, we
so
were like,
nice.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Like, thank you for thinking of us.
Like,
Yeah.
very humbled. Like, wow.
Yeah, like okay.
Also because like, yeah, it's our second year and like we did just produce this show, but like in a way we were still very like new to this, you know?
Of course,
And
yeah.
so just to get like
Yeah.
that recognition, like, oh no, I've seen what you've been doing. Like I've seen what you're up to. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, like
We gotta help each other.
yes.
That's the only way to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
That's wonderful. Okay. Well, that
So
sounds really
doing
cool.
little film stuff. We're excited. Documentary. I'm like, okay.
I hope everyone looks out for that. But
Yeah.
I'm excited
I
to
mean,
see.
lots more information will come as it starts to get fully produced But yeah.
And you guys have an Instagram.
Yes, at the Playground Project.
So link down below.
Yeah.
19.
No, that's our email. But
That's
it's
our
just-
email.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to know our email, yeah. But yeah, at the Playground Project is where you'll get all of the information of what is going on with us.
Go follow them, everyone.
Yes.
That way you can stay up to date. Yeah.
Yes.
That's
yes.
wonderful.
I know.
Okay. So you got this documentary, and you're gonna graduate school.
I'm gonna graduate school. I'm gonna get the paper.
Eventually.
Oh yes. Definitely
great.
bittersweet. But I feel happy. Like there's a lot of uncertainty, but I feel safe to know that I do have this thing, playground project, and I have this thing. It's like it's very comforting. It's mine.
Yeah.
I have direction over it. Like there's a lot of unknowns, but that's one that I'm like, okay, I'm ready to put this project into full-time mode and see what comes of it.
Embrace the
yeah.
I mean, I think we even had a conversation when Varison had no idea what's going on, like, and she's like, I'm going into 4th year, like, what is gonna happen? Like, what is even my career outside of school gonna be? Like, is the dance world gonna change completely? Like, should I still be dancing? Like, is that a path for me? And I was like, I get it. Like, that it's scary, just like putting these doubts in. But I think now that things are starting to get like clearer, there's more of a pathway for school for you. But then also like, to have the playground project as like I'm graduating and I can still keep doing stuff with our company and doing stuff for myself and all that. But it's like it's a little bit of a safety net, even though we don't know always what's going on with us and the projects. But it's like, if we want to do something, we can just do it. Yeah, you have that avenue to go to if you so please. It's really up to you guys.
Agency.
There's no real like agenda that you're like, we're gonna do this project and then next year we're gonna do this project. Like, you can kind of just play with it.
Play with it. Playground project. There you go.
Look at that. Well, that's great. Well, I think we'll leave it at that then. I mean, everybody go check out their Instagram, then you can stay up to date with everything. Check out your individual Instagrams as well.
Maria.Riano.
Dominique.Tersigni.
Perfect. Got a plug. You got a plug.
Heck yeah.
Thank you guys so much for sitting with me.
Oh my gosh, of course. No, thank you. Like, this is so cool. I've never done a podcast before, so like, this is fun.
Check that off the bucket list.
I'm glad this is the one you chose.
Oh my gosh, of course. To just sit and talk about art and like what's going on in the world and what's going on with us is like really fun. So
we'll see where it goes.
I'm excited.
Well, I'm gonna turn it off, but thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Art Versations podcast. If you like what you heard, the best way to help the podcast is to subscribe or follow on your preferred podcast platform and leave a review. As well, follow the podcast on Instagram at ArtVersationsPod. You'll find photos of each of my guests so you can match a voice to a face and highlight clips from each episode. Let's keep the conversation going. Send in a DM with your own thoughts about art, as well as any questions you think I should ask my guests. The podcast community continues to grow, and that is all because of you, listener. All bodies are dancer bodies, and all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. Till next time.
My name is Broadway Classic.
Let's hear it.